I'm doing a giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. What is up, everybody? I'm No Lux Given, and happy Gwensday. Today, we are going to be taking a look at what I think is the best Gwen strategy in Storybook Brawl. I'm putting down my stamp, my seal of approval here. I think that this is the most powerful way that you can spend your knighthood in Storybook Brawl, and we've looked at both of these things in pretty recent Gwensday videos in the past. Feasting Dragon was featured pretty recently in Gwensday, and I said when I knighthooded a Feasting Dragon on 4.0 that I thought that that was really powerful, one of the best uses for a knighthood, and I still stand by that. And since then, Feasting Dragon has also gotten a buff, so that strategy is now even stronger. And even stronger still, we are going to be using the Mix-a-Wizzle knighthood trick to grab a Feasting Dragon on 3.0. So that is obviously going to be a lot more powerful even than just picking up a 4.0 Feasting Dragon. I think this is a really powerful start with Gwen, but let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas for what you think is the most powerful thing to knighthood with Gwen, or if you just think I'm right. We wound up going for the Shrink spell in the first shop, just that way we could pick up both of these units, or all three of these units rather, on this turn. But then I see Genie's Wish in the shop, and I thought Genie's Wish was a pretty reasonable pickup because it completes halfway through our Cinderella, and there's still some nice things that we can do next turn keeping this mouse locked in the shop. We can pick up mouse plus a spell and then another unit, or we can mouse plus roll plus another unit, but we're gonna get even luckier than that. We get to go mouse plus spell plus 2 more units because that spell is going to be Forbidden Fruit. So ultimately a really strong start to this game. We lost our first combat intentionally. We did not play any units, and part of me kind of regrets that because I don't think we're going to lose again. So probably should have just picked up the egg on the first turn. We would have had a perfect game, but nonetheless, we'll be doing some pretty strong stuff. We will also get to activate Cindy next turn if we use our knighthood or if we cast any other spell, so that's definitely something that is on my mind. And we roll into a really interesting shop here. We've got a pair of Shadow Assassins, a pair of Blind Mouse, but we also have the Mix-a-Wizzle. So what we're gonna do here is pick up a 3-cost unit, Mix-a-Wizzle it, and then probably knighthood it. We do get to see what our treasure is, and our treasure is probably Secret Stash. If we had found like Dragon's Nest, of course I would have taken that as well. And then I'm going to knighthood this Feasting Dragon, and I'm actually going to lock onto the shop here for this pair of Shadow Assassin. And thinking about it a little bit more, I think I do want to use my gold that I still have left over from this turn. I still had 1 gold, so just using that to clear the shop space and make sure that we're only locking onto those Shadow Assassins. But Feasting Dragon gets its first slay of the game, and already we are off to the races. Everything in the shop with +2/+2 now. And you can see that is already quite powerful. And it's powerful enough even, and especially against the Ghost, that I'm thinking we can mix this up a little bit more. What I am aiming to do here is play the least amount of units possible to help us slay with Feasting Dragon. If I could have, like, maybe there's even a universe where I sell off my whole bench and just take a Shadow Assassin and bench that too. But ultimately, I think that this is the best lineup. It leaves the mice to get attacked into, and then it allows the Feasting Dragon to potentially slay. And we actually had a really good chance to slay. Unfortunately, we're not going to be so lucky, so we'll just forget about it. But those are just like small, minute things that you can think about. There's a lot of really funny tech things that I did in this early portion of the game as well. that I thought made this one a lot of fun. I really think about picking up the Vampire here, but on 3.2, ultimately I just decided to throw one more roll in for Blind Mouse or Crafty. There's a lot of really fun tier 2 treasures that we can still get, including their Hermes boots, and that's going to pump up Crafty, make that a 20/20, as well as just pretty much guaranteeing that we're getting these Feasting Dragon slays, and once we start getting those slays, things are looking pretty good. I also took the Helm, kind of talked over that part last turn. I employed a similar strategy in a recent video. I think it was Sunday's video. I think it was the Some Luck's Given video, where I used a Helm to pump up a Kitty Cup Purse so that way it could stay and slay multiple times, trying to do the same thing here. Not going to be as fruitful, but still, getting a slay with an upgraded Feasting Dragon on 3.2, double Candy Rain, that's 6 gold worth of spells there. Pretty good stuff. And now we move into 4.0, and once we're here, we are really rewarded for the feast that we have laid out for ourselves with Feasting Dragon. So there's basically a lot of tier 4 units that just scale really, really well with getting pumped up in the shop. Juliet could work because you get Juliet and then you resummon her with Romeo. Ranged units, obviously very good because you get to use those stats multiple times if they get to make their attack. So Lady of the Lake and Sporko, very good. Amy, also fine, though Lady of the Lake and Sporko build into more powerful endgame synergies. And then there's also Friendly Spirit, which gets the stats and then gives the stats to something else upon the last breath. So all of these units, as well as one other that I'll leave for a moment here, are really good ones. And unfortunately, we don't get the slay with Feasting Dragon this turn. It's still going to be a very, very easy win with these huge ranged units in the back line. Unfortunately, just not going to get another slay, but still feeling quite powerful. And because I am purchasing so many 4-cost units, this isn't what I was hinting at earlier. By the way, shout out to Gingerbread Knight being a 13/13 while I'm at 35 health. Pretty funny stuff. Now, the thing that I have been considering this game is, in addition to picking up tier 4 units, one thing that I like about tier 4 units is that they make tier 4 treasures. Specifically, they make Horn of Olympus, which, as you know from basically all of my recent videos, I'm very much a fan of, and that is the reason that I pick up River Wish Mermaid as well, to complement all of the other stuff that we got going on. River Wish Mermaid can help keep this Feasting Dragon on pace as the rest of the lobby begins to scale, and also contributes to just really strong endgame comps, and is a ton of fun. So definitely looking to pick up some triples of these 4-cost units, and we'll see what we can make do with. Unfortunately, Feasting Dragon is not going to slay here, so a little bit unlucky. We will still, like I said, be strong enough that we are going to win, and strong enough actually that I lied. Feasting Dragon is going to slay on that combat because it gets a second attack. So now we can pick up a Friendly Spirit. Friendly Spirit plus these supports is also really good synergistically with each other because the supports pump up the Friendly Spirit and then the Friendly Spirit pumps up those supports again. And all of that is just really good. This was the bonus unit that I was talking about, Greedy. This is a slight decrease in power over Crafty. The important thing being, I think we're strong enough that we can get a little bit greedy with this one. And I'm even going to move around the board slightly, put my ranged unit first, and give Feasting Dragon a little bit more oomph because it is falling off just the tiniest bit compared to the rest of the lobby. And I want to make sure we get a few more slays because every slay you get, like I said, is basically the equivalent of 6 gold. Speaking of gold, definitely looking to replace the secret stash at some point. That one is not working out, and unfortunately we do not get the feasting slay, but again, we will have no problem winning this combat, taking out a bawling Sphinx with Ball and Moon Songhorn. So kind of a bummer for them, but Oh well. We get to pick up another Lady of the Lake here, and then we also get to pick up another River Wish Mermaid. I'll cast the Shrink spell so that way we can just pick up the Golden Chicken and the Egg, bank those for future econ, but I think that we're pretty strong here. Oh yeah, this is one other thing you have to do when you're playing with Feasting Dragon. When you buy a unit, you swap out the old one. And I'm even considering, like, Greedy is definitely not long for this world, and Feasting Dragon definitely not long for this world either. But I'd love to continue to pick up more 4-cost units, potentially find that Horn of Olympus. That's going to be a huge power spike whenever we find it, and then build into Princess P, which is also kind of doing double duty with the stats, very similar to a Friendly Spirit, because any buffs that Princess P gets, she's also going to be able to give to some of those backline supports. Unfortunately, this Feasting Dragon is just not being very lucky on this game, but we are still going to get the win despite the Friendly Spirit also getting poisoned. So we're happy enough to get out of that one relatively free. We do see the option to pick up a Lightning Dragon here, though I kind of wanted to focus on some of these things. Like I don't have 3 pairs, I have 2 pairs though. However, I will stop down to pick up Lancelot. I can activate it with double Lady of the Lake, or I could also activate it with Sporko plus Baba Yaga. So that's the one that I'm going to want to do. It is going to mean that I need to sell off a few pretty big units here, and I think I'm just going to sell off Shadow Assassin. I'm like, if I need to pick up big units, I can just pick up big units from the shop. So Baba Yaga's already like half the power of a Shadow Assassin. I can make more units like that if I need to. Let's pick up the Baba Yaga, activate the Lancelot, start supporting that, and let's just believe that we're going to find this Moonsong Horn at some point. Start to look at some tier 5 treasures as well and see what else we can find. We find ourselves playing up against an absolutely massive beauty that already has Hercules, is already level 6, has some reasonable treasures here. Unfortunately for them, we're just absolutely huge. The Friendly Spirit lands on a ranged backline unit, and that's all it takes. So we get to take Evil Eye now from completing our Lance treasure. And yeah, things are definitely looking up. We've got really, really good treasures. All we need to do is find this Moonsong Horn, or not Moonsong Horn, Horn of Olympus. It's been so long. I've been so unlucky in getting Horn of Olympus, I forgot the name. Please forgive me. But we do find the Horn of Olympus here, and now everything is supported by double Baba Yaga, double River Wish Mermaid, and either double Sporko or double Lady of the Lake, whichever way we want to play it. I'm also going to pick up a Toil and Trouble to end the turn off, and I'm going to put my ranged unit in slot 4. It's a little bit awkward, a little bit silly, but playing up against the Ghost right now, so I want to prioritize scaling. And if these Friendly Spirits can attack, they're probably going to slay, and then they're going to get a whole bunch of bonus stats for the next turn, and I think that that is still worth pursuing at this point in the game. You can see Lance get a bunch of stats here, and then Friendly Spirit get a bunch of stats, and then my other Friendly Spirit also gets a bunch more stats onto it. So all of this went pretty well. It was pretty risk-free here, all things considered. And now we're on 6.0. So now there are some huge payoff cards that we could lean into. We could potentially find Jormungand, we could find Princess P, we could also find Good Boy. However, I think that Doom Breath is also really, really good. I did pass up a Lightning Dragon earlier. I think that was potentially a mistake, but we have Hermes Boots, which means that we have Doom Breath. I would have loved to pick up that Lightning Dragon there, by the way, but after I had already picked up Doom Breath, it seemed a little bit worse to do so. This, I think, is my most questionable decision of the game, but I wind up picking up Lady of the Lake, thinking that it's going to work well with Princess P, or specifically Good Boy. Right now, everything in my shop has +8/+8, so I'm definitely considering moving into a Good Boy comp of sorts here, and if that's the case, playing another good support in favor of an evil support, or playing a good support instead of playing an evil support, I just think that's going to be very useful for us. So that's why I make that move and lock onto this Good Boy trying to go that route now, and I think that we are pretty well set up for it. So I pick up Good Boy, maybe it slays, maybe it doesn't, but it's already looking pretty big. And then I find Jormungand. And at this point, I've got a few different options. We could cast Gigantify on the Good Boy, give it plus 10 attack, then maybe it slays, maybe it's doing something cool. It doesn't seem like it's going to slay against either of my two opponents. That's also when I realized that I only have two opponents right now. And because of that, it is probably just better to try to end this game. So unfortunately, Good Boy, you gotta go. I think that sometimes recognizing that you purchased the wrong thing and selling something in the same turn that you purchased it is just, you know, part of the game. Recognizing that is a good thing. This does mean, of course, that I'd rather have the Sporko than the Lady of the Lake giving plus attack to Doom Breath, but it is still going to find one slay. Then Lancelot's going to be more than big enough, and Friendly Spirit is also going to be more than big enough. So we are going to get a win here and a kill onto Beauty, and I believe, yeah, that's the end of the game. So there we go, a pretty dominating performance from the Mix-a-Wizzle Feasting Dragon trick. Honestly, one of the best Gwen games that I've ever had. I definitely challenge you in the comments, not even for how it turned out, but just on another level, is there any other better use of a knighthood than a Feasting Dragon on 3.0? I'm having difficulties coming up with it. Maybe you could say, like, okay, double Mix-a-Wizzle Lancelot or something like that on 3.0. But that is going to be few and far between. That is going to be it for me today, guys. Really short one, but this was a really short game. We just kind of crushed the rest of the lobby, and yeah, it wasn't particularly close. You can see I definitely had some big ideas in this one too, with trying to make Good Boy work with all of these other shenanigans, but we just didn't need to do it. Everybody else was already dead. That's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm No Lex Given. Peace. This week's giveaway word is royal. Each week I use a new code word. That's just to distinguish who's commenting for which week. And the reason I have you guys say a code word, that way I can tell who is interested in the dust and who's just commenting to say hi or that they enjoyed the video, stuff like that. You can definitely do both. Just make sure you include this week's code word. You can also enter as many times as you want per week, once per video. You can go back, leave comments on old videos, just make sure they include this week's word, but there's no limit to how many times you can enter, other than, I guess, the amount of videos that I have. And I've been putting out a bunch of Storybook Brawl videos since last October, so yeah, there are a bunch of opportunities to enter to win. You can go through the backlog and watch some of those, but it's been really fun to receive the comments from you guys, get that level of interaction. You can also come join me on my Discord, which I'm trying to grow right now, just so that I have, one, feedback on my titles and thumbnails and things like that, but I also have some fun ideas for special game modes that I could make work with lobbies of players in the future. So feel free to check that out as well. There is a link to that in the video description. And help me climb on my way to 1,000 subscribers. I'm getting there slowly but surely, and thank you guys all very much for your support.